Hi folks, my name's Gareth Duffin and this is my testimony of how Jesus miraculously saved my life. I was on holiday in Sardinia in 2017 with my wife and kids, technically step-kids but my kids. The day was September the 2nd, 2017. We were staying in a place called Castelsardo. And we were staying in a lovely hotel called Rosa dei Venti, just outside. And on this particular day, we should have had a boat trip booked, but the weather, you know, there was 3 days of like really strong winds and rough seas, so it was cancelled. It was put back till later in the week. But it was still warm, and I wanted to go to the beach. I'm pretty obsessed with the sea, so we wanted to go down. So we went to the beach, and there's only 4 of us, that's it. We had the beach to ourselves. So we, I just wanted to get in, you know, do a bit of wave dodging, you know, get the adrenaline going, and I had great fun, loved it, it was brilliant. Sea was warm, everything was nice. Now, did this for maybe 30 minutes or so. During that first 30 minutes, I kept regularly touching down on the sand and checking where I was, no problem. Somewhere around the 30-minute mark, everything seemed to pick up, to intensify. So from that point, for the next 15 to 20 minutes, I don't really have the chance to touch down on the sand or look behind me because the waves are coming thick and fast. And I'm trying to avoid being hit in the face with the waves, you know. So I'm not looking, you know, I'm not looking inland. It's probably 45, 50 minutes in total in the sea, and then at this point I'm tired and I decide that I'm gonna go out. So I turned around and to my horror, I am what I thought was initially around 1/4 of a mile out to sea. I used to work on the cable, so I could usually estimate these kind of distances to within like 10-20 metres. So yeah, the cold light day, maybe 250, nearer to 300 metres probably. So I'm in a panic at this point. I'm desperately trying to swim forward, obviously it doesn't work. I tried to swim to the right, just nothing happened. Tried to swim to the left, nothing happened. All that's happening is I was going backwards quickly, no matter which direction I tried to swim. You know, and it became apparent quite quickly that, you know, this is it. I've got myself in a real mess. This is it. There's nobody there to save me. This is how I'm gonna die. There's no helicopters, there's no boats, there's no Coast Guard, there's nobody can come and save me. And that feeling, that feeling that you're gonna die because of your own carelessness, it's difficult to describe. You know, I was angry at myself. But then that soon gave way to the acceptance that this is it, I'm going to die. So then my thoughts turned to that. What will it be like? You know, painful? Will it be quick? You know, then how long have I got? I figured maybe 1 minute, a minute and a half. You know, and then my thoughts turned to my wife and kids because they were sat on the beach and they would have to witness this and see me not come back in. Or if I did come back in, it would probably be in a few days' time or further down the coast. So, you know, I was devastated to thinking that my carelessness could cause them that suffering. And then I remember I just got hit by, it was just like being in a huge washing machine, you know, it was horrendous. And I remember being hit by a really big wave, and it knocked me straight under, and I took on a lot of water. I was choking a bit. I had hardly any oxygen left at this point. I'm like severely done, severely out of breath. And then I felt a burning in my limbs. Not like a lactic acid burning, this was different. I've never had this before. I later found out that this is a symptom when you have severe oxygen deprivation. So, you know, I'm really, really struggling for breath. I'm just in a panic, I can't do anything. At this point I can see there's maybe 50 or 60 people on the beach. I can't really make anything out because they're just like dots. And obviously you feel a bit of an idiot really, so I thought, I'm not bothered, I've got to shout for help. So I used my last remaining energy to kick myself high as I could out of the water and wave and shout for help. But the sea was that rough, I'm quite high up compared to the beach level. It's like I'm looking down towards the beach. And I knew nobody could hear me. The sea was so loud, nobody would hear. So, you know, I think, well, what have I got? You know, this minute and a half was now 30 seconds tops. And then, like I said, big wave hit me, took me under, choking a lot. And then I came up, and I don't know where this came from, because I was conscious, I was aware that physically nobody could save me. Nobody could get in and save me. No boats, no helicopters, no nothing. There was nobody could come and save me. But it come into my head to ask for Jesus, ask Jesus for help. Like a default setting. You know, I wasn't logically thinking Jesus can save me, Jesus can do miracles. It didn't enter my head, it just come into my head, ask Jesus for help. And I was in my last breaths, and I shouted, Jesus, please save me, please get me to shore. And I was hit round the back of the head with a wave that was way, way more powerful than any of the others. Really powerful. It should have knocked me out, but at this point, you know, you're fighting for your life, so you resist it as much as you can. So I went under, I'm choking, I took on a lot of water. I went back up, and I knew this was my final, you know, my final breaths. And this was the last time I would surface. Next time I went under, it would be for good. So, you know, I just, again, in my very last breath, shouted, Jesus, please save me, please get me to shore. And then I was hit with a wave that was twice as powerful as the last one, and bang, knocked me out. It just knocked me out cold, clean, knocked me unconscious, done. Now, at this point, you know, that should be it. You should be dead, because, you know, your body would do what it does, and you would inhale, whether you're unconscious or not, you would still inhale, and that's it, you'd drown. But all I knew was everything was black. I had no awareness of anything. Not my body, no breathing, no struggle, nothing. It was just, everything was black. And it was black like a television when it's on standby. You've been watching something, everything's there, it's normal, and it's on standby, it's black, there's nothing. And then there was like a disconnect, there was a gap where I wasn't aware of anything. And I only know there was a gap and that I wasn't aware of anything because all of a sudden it was black again. So I noticed it was black once, and then I noticed it was black again, but it was different. So it's like the plug had been pulled and then put back in, and I'm on standby again. But on the second time, it went from black, it started to lighten and form a pixelated picture. And then it got lighter and it became clear, and I was at the shore. Now, I'm at the shore, I've just woke up, I've not taken on any water. I've got lungs full of oxygen. I'm not out of breath at all, nothing. You know, I'm fine, I'm not out of breath. And then, obviously there was like 50 or 60 people on the beach. There was 4 big guys trying to get in, to get to me, but they couldn't get past the waves. So, yeah, I knew that I wasn't quite there, so I just swam like mad, and I managed to get out. And I went to stand up, but I couldn't, because my stomach, from treading water and swimming so long, had tightened that much that I couldn't. I was just bent over, I couldn't straighten. And the guys tried to tell me, I'm fine, you know, fine, just leave me. Just embarrassed. And I just wanted to scuttle out of there to the wife, you know, just completely embarrassed. Now, I did notice that everybody was still looking out to sea, which I just thought was a bit odd, because I don't know if it's heightened senses or what, but I know for a fact there was nobody else in that sea. There was nobody, probably nobody stupid enough to do it, you know, but no, there was nobody else in that sea for definite. But anyway, I go over to the wife and I just said, oh, I bet you didn't even know I was in trouble, did you? She just says, no, I just thought you were waving. It's worth pointing out that I'm kind of obsessed with the sea, and I can free dive a bit, so the first time I ever did that, it really freaked her out, because I was gone for a few minutes and she didn't know, you know. So she eventually got used to it over the years, so she stopped worrying about it, you know. But the son, he said, Mummy's in trouble. He's definitely in trouble. And she was like, no, he's fine, he does it all the time. So she said to me, how did you get back in? I says, I've no idea. I said, I was unconscious, I don't know. I said, but I asked Jesus to save me, get me to shore, and next thing I'm at shore, so I don't know. She said, I only ask because, you know, she turned to her daughter to say something, and then turned back. She said, but when I turned to her to say something, you were all the way out there. But when I turned back, you popped up at the shore. She goes, it was 5 seconds. I said, it's not possible. She goes, I don't understand how you've done it. I said, well, I haven't done it. I said, I don't know. I said, I was unconscious. So I'm kind of in shock, laughing and joking about it, you know. Everyone's still staring out to sea, and I mean everyone. So I'm really thinking, what's going off? Why are they doing this? I know there's no one else in there. And then an Italian guy, I noticed, coming up the beach towards me, and he stopped. He was coming towards me. He stopped, and he, you know, just looked out to sea. And then he carried on towards me, stopped himself again, double checked again, you know, looking out to sea. And then the third time he actually approached me. I think his name was Zoltan Sperry, I think his name was. Lovely guy. And he just said, excuse me, he said, are you the guy that was all the way out at sea? I said, yeah, I was, yeah. He said, how did you get back in? I says, your guess is as good as mine. I says, I don't know. I says, I was, you know, I said in my last breaths, I asked Jesus to save me and get me to shore. And I was knocked unconscious. And then I woke up at the shore. He said, well, I saw it. He said, I saw everything. He said, I watched everything. He says, I saw you wave. He said, and I waved back. But then I kind of realised you wouldn't be able to see me at that distance. So he said, I phoned the Coast Guard. So, you know, he says, but then, he said, I saw you go under. He said, and then you just popped up at the shore. So it's like 5 seconds later. Now, there's no way he could have heard my wife say that, you know, to get the idea. He was like way down the beach when we were discussing this. And, you know, minutes later he came up, but the wind was blowing the opposite way anyway, so, you know, it wouldn't have blown our conversation down towards him where we could hear it. He had no idea. That's 2 people that said, you went under all that way out and you popped up at the shore 5 seconds later. So that means that somehow after asking Jesus to save me, I have been unconscious 300 metres out to sea, and I have travelled between 50 and 60 metres per second whilst completely out of oxygen and unconscious. And when I've came to, when I've came around, I've got lungs full of oxygen and I haven't taken on any water at all. It's a literal miracle. It's amazing. But this guy, you know, he said 5 seconds. My wife said 5 seconds. So I'm starting to realise that these people, they've mistaken me for two separate people. They think that someone's still out there and someone was at the shore. And I feel embarrassed enough anyway. I just want to get out of there. I just feel stupid. But the Coast Guard were coming, so I had to wait for the Coast Guard. They did the checks. You're okay? Yes. And then they asked me the same question: how did you get out? And I explained, and they said, well, yeah, it's a miracle because nobody gets out of here. He said, there's a rip. Now, I didn't know there was a rip because as much as I love the sea, I'm not stupid enough to go in if I know there's a rip. So he said, yeah, there's a rip and it's claimed more lives than the Concordia disaster. So, you know, he said it's a miracle that you made it out. So, you know, I'm kind of done with the day now. I just feel embarrassed. People are still looking out to sea and I just want to scoot. I want to go. So we went to the hotel. I'm at the hotel and I kind of have a mini breakdown. I think the severity of the situation, the fact that I should be dead by rights, kicks in, and it's a very, very strange feeling, very strange. But I decided the next day that I wanted to go to church. So we went to church, Italian church. I have no idea what they were saying, all in Italian, but you know, I just felt that I needed to be there. And you know, I started going to church when I got back off the holiday, and it changed my life. You know, trying to walk with God and be better, and you know, change your ways. Some I have, you know, some not so much. It's like a work in progress, I guess. I don't know, but it's changed me, and I still think about it most days. And I've got to be honest, I didn't want to make this video because, you know, it's one of them things that I've not done before properly like this. It's very personal, and nobody really likes listening to the sound of their voice on video, you know. But I felt compelled to do it. I've put it off for a long time, and there's always been some. I feel like I should have shared this testimony sooner. You know, it's testimony, you're supposed to share it with people, which I have done, but not to a really wide audience. So I've not, you know, I've put it off. But, you know, now I've done it, 7 years later, and, you know, my life's changed a lot. It's 7 extra years of life that I wouldn't have had. And in that 7 years, got married, changed my career, I've emigrated. It's all thanks to God, because I wouldn't have been able to do any of that, you know. So, yeah, and it's worth saying that before all this, my wife did manage to get some photos, so I'll just show you a few of the photos. This one. That's 2. That's 3. As I say, I didn't want to make this video, but I made one yesterday and I forgot a few of the details, so just been in town, come back, thought I'd do it while I remember. So yeah, that's it. That's how Jesus saved my life. Jesus is real, God is good, and God bless you all. Thank you for watching, and I hope this video finds who it needs to find and helps who it needs to help. So thanks again.